This video is not about whether you should be playing Roblox. This video is about child safety and tech companies' responsibility in ensuring that children have safety when they're using their online platform. Roblox is one of the largest platforms in the world. I think roughly 100 million people, and yes, 100 million people log into Roblox every single day. Now, there are people across the country who are suing the platform because there's this allegation that the platform encourages the exploitation of children. So once platform that was used as children to enter into vast generated worlds and to interact with other people is now being sued because of the predators that take advantage of this platform that is specifically, or at least appears to be, for children.
I mean, this is a very common theme where adults are on Roblox masquerading as children.
New at 5, Roblox and Discord under fire after a Charleston minor accused the platforms of exposing her to online predators. The lawsuit now one in a long line of similar cases as the platforms continue to argue their innocence. Our Cameron Lyme spoke with the minor's attorneys. And Cam, just how many cases are there?
Yeah, Tessa, according to lawyers, this is just one of 500 cases that are targeting Roblox and Discord for not protecting minors from predators. Now, Roblox is an extremely popular online video game. Now, just to give you some scale, there are over 80 million active users daily. The game is easily accessible to people across the world and is played by people of all ages. There have been numerous reports of predators posing as minors, befriending them and asking them for personal information and even explicit photos. There was a similar lawsuit just last month in Michigan and another one in Kentucky around the same time. And according to the minor's lawyer, Roblox hasn't been safe for children since the beginning.
Sure, it's a very fertile landscape and fertile hunting ground for sexual predators. Nowhere that it's safe in this world for adults to be speaking to minors, but that goes on who are not their children, who are not related to them. That goes on unabated all day long, every day on Roblox.
So for anyone who may be unfamiliar with Roblox, it's an interesting generated world game where you can create different avatars of sort and interact with other people online. Children love this thing. I think my nephew even has an account with Roblox. And this becomes interesting because, as adults, we're able to assess risk a little bit different than children, right? Like, maybe a child may be able to see a car drive down the street fast and maybe have that idea that, hey, like, I shouldn't cross right now. And adults have the same mindset. But when it comes to something like Roblox, where you're able to log into an account, you're home, you feel safe, maybe your parents is in the next room over, you don't think any danger could happen to you. As a child, you're probably not thinking about the online risks, the cyber threats as well that are lurking behind. So when it comes to children, the law kind of treats them a little bit differently, right? There's kind of much more higher scrutiny, so they want to make sure that their safety is upheld to the highest that we can. So let's take a quick look at the complaint, see what's going on, see the kind of arguments that are being made, and then we'll go from there. All right, so this is my first time looking at this complaint, and what we can see is filed in the United States District Court, Northern District of California, and it's by John Doe's, of course, versus Roblox. Let's scroll down a little bit. We've got a table of contents. Let's see here, factual allegations as to Roblox. Some of the things that they're going to be alleging. Roblox offers a gaming app for children. As we know, Roblox lures parents into letting their kids use Roblox with promises of safety. In reality, Roblox is a digital and a real-life nightmare for children. Roblox hosts and promotes graphic, sexually explicit content. Roblox provides a hunting ground for child sex predators. This is a good job on behalf of the attorneys writing this complaint, at least to set the stage for anyone who's reading the complaint to understand just how serious it is, because it does become a hunting ground for children as prey. Roblox knowingly causes and facilitates the sexual exploitation of children. It prioritizes growth over child safety. Roblox facilitates child sexual exploitation through the design of its app, inadequate safety features, and refusal to invest in basic safety protections. Roblox's recent safety changes are woefully inadequate and fail to address years of neglect and harm caused by its app. Okay, the cause of actions are going to be fraudulent concealment and misrepresentation,
negligent misrepresentation, negligence generally. Fourth cause of action is negligence, failure to warn. Fifth cause of action, unreasonable design. Sixth cause of action, negligent undertaking. Seventh cause of action, strict liability design. And eighth cause of action, failure to warn. It's a big complaint. You got about 82 pages here. And let's just briefly look at the introduction. This action seeks to hold Roblox accountable for recklessly and deceptively operating business in a way that led to the sexual exploitation of plaintiff. The heinous acts against plaintiff were committed by dangerous child predators whose actions were possible only because of the egregiously tortious conduct of the defendant, right? And a lot of people are going to be wondering, well, what did Roblox do, right? Like, how they're not the ones who sexually exploited the children. It was the predators do. And it's about the environment that you create, right? And whether or not when you create some kind of environment, do you also are in a position to see the kind of risk that comes with that, right? Through its pervasive patterns of misrepresentations about safety, right? And I guess what they're trying to say here is that perhaps Roblox sets itself out as a place that's safe for children, and then lets parents know that it's a safe place for children, thereby letting a parent to feel comfortable just giving the child the iPad to just sit down and play on Roblox all day. The defendant portrays its app as a safe and appropriate place for children to play. That's what we were just talking about. In reality, and as the defendant well knows, the design of its app makes children easy prey for pedophiles. And the defendant had no appropriate safeguards to ensure that children were in fact safe or that predators were screened. Now, this is a big issue, right? Because again, guys, if you're creating this environment where you know that they're going to be children coming in and enjoying the vast generated worlds that are inside of Roblox, you have to keep in mind the kind of risk that is lurking behind, which is that a predator could have access to this kind of thing. It's probably easy to sign up on this. You just have some kind of account, you sign up, and now you're in the game and you have direct access to talk with a child. It upsets me in a way, as you can see. There are steps that the defendant could have taken to protect children and make its app safer, but time and again, the defendant has refused to invest in basic safety features. Basic. The word's important because you're not required to foresee everything. But, I mean, if you're not even hitting the bare minimum now there's an issue. Basic safety features to protect against exactly the kind of exploitation that plaintiff suffered. The reason for the defendant's unlawful conduct is simple. The defendant prioritizes growing the number of users of its app over child safety. My guess, more people using the app, more money, right? As one former Roblox employee explained in describing the company's approach to child safety, you have to make a decision, right? You can keep your players safe, but then it will be less of them on the platform. Or you just let them do what they want to do, and then the numbers all look good and investors will be happy. This is what happens when we put money over safety, when we put money over children, and when we put money over morality, right? You have to think here, right? It's kind of at this point, if you are purposely doing this, where it's like you understand the risks involved, and you do your own analysis as whether or not you should try to prevent the kind of risk that is going to take place here, which is the exploitation of children, then what does it really say about the company, right? You know, should the company be punished for something like that? I don't know, you tell me. Where are we? Or you just let them do what they want to do, and then the numbers all look good and investors will be happy. The defendant's prioritization of growth over the safety of children has devastated the lives of children who use it app, and that's the real big issue, because kids, they're not going to get over something like this. They're going to remember this for the rest of their life. All right, let's see this. Plaintiff is a 9-year-old young boy who was an avid user of the defendant's app. Now, this hits a little home for me because I have a nephew who's very young too, probably almost close to that age. And it's just, you just got to think about the safety that these kids are experiencing online. Got to be very careful here. He relied heavily on the app for entertainment and social interaction, making him a prime target for the countless child predators that defendant knew were freely roaming the app looking for vulnerable children. Plaintiff was targeted on Roblox by an adult predator who posed as a fellow child. The predator exploited plaintiff's age and vulnerability to build a false emotional connection with him by promising friendship and connection. And that's where the prey comes in, right? It's kind of like we've got children online on these platforms, right? And in the age where it's all Zoom, there's less social interaction between children. We have to find a way to connect, right? Children are thinking that these aren't the same days where, I was born in the 90s, 95, and when I was like 5, 6, 7 years old, I was outside playing with my friends on the street, right? These aren't the same days where you could just go knock on someone's door and play with your friends outside, at least in New York City. So times are definitely changing. People, when I say people, kids, they're finding ways to connect with other kids through other means, right? Like games, video game, PS5. Kids will be in chat rooms with other kids, developing this kind of connection, and it just kind of shows you the desire that kids have to connect with other people. And the problem is when people notice that desire, and I'm talking about the sick people out there, people I'm talking about, the sick people that they prey on these kids' desires and wants to exploit that. And that's the issue. Now, we know Roblox didn't directly do this, right? But the question is, at least based off this complaint, is did Roblox create this environment for people to do this? And should we hold them accountable? You let me know what you think. Okay, he relied heavily on the app for entertainment and social interaction, making him a prime target for the countless child predators that were freely roaming the app. Plaintiff was targeted on Roblox by an adult predator who posed as a fellow child. The predator exploited plaintiff's age and vulnerability to build a false emotional connection with him by promising friendship and connection. After capturing his trust, the predator escalated his grooming of plaintiff on Roblox. The predator sent plaintiff graphic messages and manipulated plaintiff into sending an explicit image of himself. And that's what... that's just tough to... I can't even... It just pisses me off, honestly. You could see this kind of thing. You just have to protect kids. Kids are 100% need to be protected. Plaintiff suffered this sexual exploitation and abuse as a direct result of the defendant's conduct. For years, the defendant has misrepresented and deliberately concealed information about the pervasive predatory conduct that his app enables and facilitates. Had the defendant disclosed the truth of what was really occurring on his app, plaintiff's father would have never have permitted plaintiff to use this app without his strict supervision. And this kind of goes back to what they were saying about Roblox being this company that represents the parents, that it's a safe place. You don't got to keep an eye. We're good here. Everything is safe. And that goes to that. I got to tell you, whoever wrote this complaint, at least in my opinion, I can feel the story being built, right? In my opinion, I think this is a well-drafted complaint in terms of just building that emotional feel that the person's going to read, right? Kind of creating like this basis and a story. Now, you guys got to remember, complaints are just allegations, right? They're all just allegations, and allegations have to be proven, and we don't know if it's true or not, right? But off of first bat of reading this, it seems like I would be very upset at Roblox, obviously. Had the defendant implemented even the most basic system of age and identity verification, as well as effective parental controls, plaintiff would have never engaged with this predator and never been home, right? And we got to ask, what are other platforms doing? Right? Are there other platforms like Roblox that have basic safety measures in place? Was Roblox acting reasonable in the design of its website platform for children? I don't know. Plaintiff has suffered unimaginable harm. Tragically, what happened to him is far from an isolated event. Indeed, plaintiff is just one of the countless children whose lives have been devastated as a result of the defendant's gross negligence and effective design. This action, therefore, is not just a battle to vindicate plaintiff's right. It is a stand against defendant's systemic failures to protect society's most vulnerable from unthinkable harm in pursuit of financial gain over child safety.
So let's get this straight. This is a civil lawsuit, not a criminal lawsuit. And what this means is that there's no jail time. There's no prison time, right? This is more so about damages, money. And what's going on here is that these lawsuits, they're alleging that these predators access the Roblox network. And what they do is that they have conversations with children, young age. And, eventually these conversations grow into something deeper. Unfortunately, they grow into something sexual. And these children end up lured into these conversations, and they're either sending photographs, meeting people, that sort. It's a whole new way that these predators have found a way to attack our children. And we got to be very mindful and be very careful with how we let children use these devices today, iPads, computers, laptops, you name it. Even at phones, you got to be a little bit careful so that they're protected. So what are we talking about here? Well, this is a negligence issue, right? So we're talking about duty, breach, causation, and harm. And the question is, well, does Roblox have a heightened duty to prevent the foreseeable harm to children that use their platform, right? There's a risk there. And, there's grooming that takes place online on certain platforms, and that there'd be children using this platform. And you got to recall, it's not that Roblox doesn't have any kind of safety measures. It's a matter of whether those measures were enforced, were they used, right? It's one thing to have some kind of policy on paper, but another thing to enforce it, to use it in practice. And I got to tell you, I'm very interested to see how this suit goes on. But here's another thing that I want you to keep in mind. Many lawsuits are arguing that, well, Roblox created a risk, but it's not that the fact that there's a risk that leads to being negligent. It's a matter of whether or not the risk was unreasonable, right? You can't get punished for everything in life, but it's a matter that you take an unreasonable risk despite the safety measures that were available to you. And what would a reasoned person do? Well, then the next question is going to be, well, what does Roblox say? What does Roblox say in response to what's going on? Roblox is going to say, well, it didn't owe duty, right? It didn't breach any duty, and it didn't act negligence. It's going to say that it had safety measures in place to prevent the kind of risk that happened, right? Which is the exploitation of children on its platform. And then a good attorney is going to try to poke holes through that. Perhaps some further arguments would be, well, that the parents control the risk, right? Because they're there with the kid, or they should be there ideally. But that's probably not going to be enough. It's one argument for sure, right? Kid in a house, parents nearby. Parents should be watching. But it won't be enough. But again, this is bigger than Roblox. This is more so about social media and how we let children just use online platforms and not surveying them, not watching them. I mean, there's countless times you'll see a parent who might just give a child an iPad just to have the child be quiet because the child is just yapping all the time or maybe crying. And we got to be mindful, right? Because, children, they're not dumb, right? They're curious. They're the most thought in the world, and they want to try things. They take more risks than us. So that child who's using an iPad or using a computer or using it without any kind of supervision, you got to be a little bit careful there because of the risks that are associated with it. Now, as parents, and I'm not a parent myself, but I can tell you that something that you want to consider is monitoring them to some extent, right? And you don't have to be over their shoulder every single hour. You got to give them some independence as well too. But you should know what your child is up to, and they should trust that you have their best interest at heart. And when doing so, to avoid these kind of risks that take place. So I bring this matter up because it is a toy matter, but it's something that we deal with every single day in life, right? It's as simple as just spending time with children, and technology also spending time with our children, and the possible lawsuits that may arise from that's going on. We have to be very careful and be very mindful here that it's not enough to just give a child a laptop and not put any kind of safety features in there to prevent them from getting the kind of harm that's out there. It's the harm that's there is very true. But there are many ways to kind of look at this Roblox thing, right? Like, in life, and different kind of environments have different kind of adults in there, right? Like you go to school, there's a teacher that's an adult. Go home, you got your parents that are adults. And you got to wonder at what point does an environment such as Roblox create some kind of responsibility? Because even in school you have responsibility, there's responsibility imposed on like adults. And my further question would just be, well, does Roblox as a virtual environment carry responsibilities among itself? What do you think? Very curious to know what you think. What should happen to Roblox here? What should happen to the parents whose children were affected by this? What should be done moving forward? I'm curious to know your thoughts. If you have anything to say, please drop them in the comments and I'll talk about it deeper with you.